Thank you very much, PS. To the family of our late father, Honorable John Koech, to the bishop and the leaders of this church, to honorable members led by the PS, Honorable Brighton, Senator Joyce, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. I am here today to pass my personal condolences and to eulogize Honorable John Koech, a man who was a trailblazer, a great leader, and an example to all of us who are in leadership. I just want to start by saying that I am a friend of the family in many ways. In the family, the person who introduced me to the family is Mercy. Mercy and I were in the Christian Union in our campus days. And so in the process of our many Fellowship of Christian Union conferences, she was in Daystar and I was in Nairobi University and I was the CU chair. So I would go to preach in Daystar sometimes. And so I got to know Mercy through Focus. Thereafter, she introduced me to the rest of the family, including Kiptuya. And Leonard and I worked together in Action Aid later when I graduated. So that's how I got to know the family. But what is very interesting, Mercy, of course, introduced me to Joan. And what happened is that when I came from just done with my LLM, which is the most memorable moment for me with the Mzee, is that he was a minister of East Africa. You all remember what happened in 2005. So when he became the minister of East Africa Community, so Mercy, with their sister Joan, convinced their dad that they had a friend who is a hustler from somewhere in Embobut, and he was graduating, and he needed a car to take him from one corner to another. So I was given ministerial car. It was I think, maroon in color or somehow red, sort of. It was Nissan Patrol. So that day I was taken like a king to my function. I was being admitted to the bar. So being an advocate for the first time. From that day, I dreamt to be a cabinet secretary, to be a minister. So then we became friends with him. Once in a while, he would check on me. And he told me that one day I'll be a leader. And he wasn't surprised when I eventually ran for seat as a senator. And so we kept meeting on and off. Of course, as days advanced, you drift, you don't meet your friends. I didn't meet Leonard again. Once in a while in the Action Aid group, I didn't meet Mercy again. I'm even surprised. Of course, I met her later, but I'm surprised that Mercy has such a big girl, like somebody said here. So time moves on, but once in a while we would talk. And Kiptuya is the person I used to meet when I was teaching Catholic. He was a good student, but once in a while he had issues. And when I visited Mzee in hospital, Kiptuya would give me his testimony of how he has, over time, changed a lot. And he told me, since one of the departments that's relevant to that change is in my ministry, I should utilize him once in a while as a good ambassador for young people to make sure that they look forward. So Mzee was a great guy. One of the most profound things is that you never know he served for that long. And it's very difficult to be re-elected and elected and go out and come back to serve for that long. And I suspect, this is what we usually say, there is no one who is voted for, who is elected just like that. The voters are always right. And what the voters do is that they have a way of seeing somebody beyond even the personal appearance. They see the heart. They can read your attitude. And even me, even if I didn't vote in Bomet, I would definitely say this was a down-to-earth man, extremely down-to-earth. He loved people. When he met somebody, you would see genuine concern for that person. You know, in politics also, Bishop, you don't know that it's very hard to tell people, I don't know you. So everywhere you go, someone says, yeah, nakumbuka. So sometimes embarrassing say, na mimi naitwa nani? Nawambia, so it depends on how you have learned how to survive. So sometimes you just come up with a name, you say, yeah, of course I know you, John. No, I'm John, I'm Peter. Oh yeah, Peter, yeah. I just forgotten. Because everybody in politics would like you to feel extremely important and to be attended to. But Honorable Koech had this very personal touch with people, and he took time to know many things and to explain to you. In fact, I think he enjoyed most now in his retirement meeting us who are elected, because, and those of us who visited him in hospital, all of you who are elected, you know that he liked to tell you about how government was, how government should be, what you need to do to support government. And because he was now a sage, he was at a vantage point, having seen it all. Whatever he said made a lot of sense. And as they say, history repeats itself. You all know that in 2005, this is part of his last stories he told me in the hospital. He was still very jovial when I went to see him, a month ago, I think, yeah, because this situation has happened so fast. His health has deteriorated in the last part of it very fast. But when I went to see him, he gave me the story of 2005. No, he gave me first the story, which I don't know, many of you are trying to evade that story. Everybody saying he was elected non-stop up to 1990. But there was no election in 1990. There was an election in 1992. So what happened between 1990 and 1992? And he gave me this story of how people were, you know, and this is the other part I want to tell you about politics. If you forget about now politics of being elected is even better. If you are a minister, you always, because you can be appointed and be removed at any time, you're always surviving on the edge. Because there's someone saying something about you at any given time, and you do not know where he's saying it. So people will say, huyu amechipanga, huyu wana mkubwa, you know what, wataenda kwa mkubwa, mwambie mkubwa, huyu amesema mimi ndio, hakuna penye ninaenda. Mwingine anaenda kuambia mkubwa, yule alisema hata huyu rais ni bure, mimi, kama sio mimi singefika mahali. So he gave me all that story, what was happening about 1990. And so because of all this gossip, in 1990 a meeting was called and it was said he was not loyal enough. We are facing the first multi-party politics. He was bundled out. Then he gave a very historical story, left for Kanu, Nini. But by December 1992, they were looking for the same person. Kumwambia sasa, we want you, kumbe you are better. And so he narrated how that story went. In the other story that I remember is so let me say this to conclude that point, is that to survive in politics and to continue being in office and to be in an appointed public office, even if you ask Aurelia, when the PSS was about to be changed, I don't think Alilala for like 2 months. She didn't tell me, but I know because I've gone through it. So to survive in politics is not easy. You are in, you are out, and to continue having the strength, you are assistant minister, you are removed. You are minister, you are moved. You do this to still be relevant. And then there is gossip. And then there are things that are written in newspaper that is not about you. So I feel for this family because I sometimes feel for what my children go through. To create time for them and to mentor them to be what they are, I think Mama, who is here, must really be celebrated, because she must have been the most, I do not know the story, but the most important pillar for Mheshimiwa. For their children to be who they are. It is rare to see the humility that is in the children of Koech. You will never know Alana is a son of a minister. You will never know the sisters, that they are sons of former politicians. You will never know that from Kiptuya. Although he has this, Kiptuya Kidogo has this behavior of looking like somebody who is interested in politics. Yeah, so he's my friend, so I can make fun of him. So to succeed is not easy. And I see that struggle in myself with my children. And so that is one great celebration you must have from Mheshimiwa. Number two is the stability of the country. In 2005, you all know that the only time a whole cabinet has been dissolved in Kenya is twice. Okay? In 2005 and in 2024. In 2005, the President Kibaki lost a referendum in November 2005. I'm saying all these stories because I can't speak tomorrow. My boss will be around. So in 2005, the referendum happened, and Kibaki had to reappoint a cabinet in December, I think 9th. So, and because at that point in time, it looked like Kibaki is finished, completely finished. Many people never wanted to serve in that cabinet. So once he had bundled out ODM, which was at that point being formed, but it was LDP and a few other people who had come in, Kibaki needed people to stabilize the country. So he needed a broad-based government, if you use the terms of those days. And he had to go to KANU, and particularly Honorable John Koech, to come in to stabilize his government. And as a result, he became a minister in that broadened government and stabilized the country. And contrary to the belief that many people thought Kibaki is finished, he helped to stabilize that government to the extent that President Mwai Kibaki was re-elected in 1997. And in the process, you know what happened across our country to now. So what President Ruto did is not new. You know, it's not new. The challenges that President Ruto faced are not new. In 2005, Kibaki was the most unpopular person. Everybody was saying, uchumi ni ya watu wachache, haijafika chini, it's not nene. But Kibaki is most celebrated president today. So even the challenges the president went through last year and did what Kibaki did and broadened the government and stabilized the country, I am confident that the future of this country is in safe hands and success is ahead for us, and President Ruto will be re-elected and he will be celebrated like Kibaki in future. That is the most transformative president that ever country have. So we celebrate people like Honorable John Koech. This is the most shallow message about him. And I suspect the reason why this is very shallow is because he was a humble man. He didn't want so many things to be said. He was easy. But that does not mean we will absolve this family of their responsibility to find the right person who will write the biography of Honorable John Koech for the stability and remembrance by many generations to come, the family and the country. Because there is a lot. After I talked to Honorable John Koech, I called Isaac for tea. And I asked Isaac, okay, give me your story with Honorable John Koech. What happened in 2002? So Isaac also, I don't know Chapalungu with this principle to people. So I think Isaac also alienda kufanya makosa yake huko South Africa 2002. Is it 2002 or 97? Which was that? 2002, yes, prior to 2002. Na hiyo ikafungulia njia Honorable John Koech to make the final comeback in cabinet. There is a very good stories from Bomet about all these people and what they used to do, but also their contribution to the country. I want to say fare thee well to Mzee, Honorable John Koech. We celebrate him, we celebrate the family, we celebrate his contribution to the nation, we celebrate his contribution to the community, Siongroi Girls, and many other projects that are long-lasting that come from his family. And we look forward to uniting together at home to celebrate him tomorrow. We hope, and this is, thank you Brighton for being here, we are very keen to ensure that the function of Honorable John Koech tomorrow is as solemn and celebratory as it should be. Why am I saying this? It's because sometimes we get some noise in Bomet. And recently we sat down, for those of us who work around the president, and said, we want order and good behavior around president's functions. And so we all agreed that during the funeral of Honorable Jeptumo, that we wanted to see good order and to celebrate our colleague in an orderly manner. The funeral went very well. Yeah, please, Brighton musituangushe. Yeah, tomorrow. You know what I mean. I don't want to say more details, but tomorrow we want a solemn function. The head of state will be there. Let's celebrate this great leader in the best way we can. And finally, I have been asked that because now of delay, we want to find a faster way of taking the body of his honorable home. So you remember the story that he gave me a ride. So I'll be okay to give him his final ride to go home. And we are trying to make some arrangements to make sure that we will do so. Maybe some of the other family members will go by road, but we'll find a way of taking Mheshimiwa home a bit faster. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. Asante sana.
Thank you, sir.